We are at an absolutely beautiful Mid-Ohio sports car course. It is GRIDLIFE Touring Cup action continuing. We are getting set for the top 10 shootout, making its return to this championship here at Mid-Ohio in this 7th round here at the Midsummer Meet. And what's going to be fascinating about this, top 10 cars, finishing order from race 2, they line up. They will determine the order now for the top 10 in race 3 with single car qualifying for the top 10. It should be spectacular. I'm Greg Creamer, Alex Moss alongside, and we are getting ready to set this one on its way here. We're really excited about this because to see these cars out one at a time, and the way the format works, Alex, first car goes out, does a warm-up, then a flyer, and then done, then the next car goes, right?
That's right. So each car's going to go out, get an opportunity to see the track all to themselves. No traffic, no other cars on the track. They get to set that one lap time from a flying lap, and that's going to determine where they start in the top 10 of the grid.
And that'll be done reverse order from how they finish. So 10th place will go out first, working their way up to the guy who won the race.
That's right. Yep. So it really builds the excitement and the anticipation to see if Eric Catil is going to be able to hang on to that pole position. He will know what everyone's done, or we will know what everyone else has done when he sets his time.
And the two guys, to me, that have real opportunity here would be one, Jeremy Swenson in that big, powerful Corvette. He comes from the time attack background. That's what they do, is just run qualifiers, right?
That's right. Time attack is essentially a qualifying session. So the drivers that have a good time attack background, in theory, should have be very experienced in this format and know how to attack it.
And this corner right here, when we get ready for this, is going to be absolutely crucial, and we'll talk about that in a second here. Let's take a look at the track map of what these guys are going to be dealing with. And when they set off, they will start the clock right where that dot is, essentially. Fastest turn on the track, blind turn in under that bridge. Big commitment corner there. At the exit, it actually climbs a little bit, so you get more grip than you think you will. Then this huge run, and you better get the keyhole right on this qualifier.
That's right. Yeah, getting keyhole right and getting the exit to the keyhole right is imperative, because that leads you onto a long period of full throttle where any mistake, you're going to carry that mistake all the way to turn 4.
And if you get behind in turn 4 and 5, your lap's done. You've got to be on top of it, be on your game. And then here in turn 12, the qualifying lap actually will start before the apex at 12, won't it?
That's right. So the time starts at the start-finish line there that you can see, but the actual qualifying run begins before that last corner.
So coming up right here, they're just, what are they going to do here?
Yeah, so on they're going to take this turn differently on their warm-up lap compared to their flying lap. The warm-up lap, the drivers are going to try to maximize the miles per hour that they can have when they cross that timing line. So they will take a wide line, they'll maximize the distance, give themselves the most acceleration. At the end of the run, they're not trying to maximize the miles per hour across the line, they're trying to minimize the time from that corner to the line. So they're going to shave distance out of it, try to carry more speed, and get to that line sooner.
So into 12, they're going to go in really wide, just make diamond it huge, really. Just do a hard right up in the center of your screen right there. They're going to run way wide, then get on the hammer, right? To start the qualifier. Then they'll drive the normal race line at the end of it, as you said, just to roll speed through that corner.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So we'll see two very different lines, especially from those time attack drivers.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch. And the other guy I was just talking about, the two guys that to me have opportunity. We talked about Swenson. He's a time attack guy. He gets it, knows what to do. For me, Andy Smedegaard, after the issue in race 1 with the contact that he had and the fact that he ended up finishing way, way back, he did get a decent lap in, but he got a grid penalty, so he was outside of the top 10. Right now, if he can lay down a great lap in this session, he can get himself back on track. Literally, he can get back up toward the front where we know he can race.
Yep. Yeah, this shootout is great for him. He snuck into the top 10 at the last race, so this is his chance to reset and put those troubles behind him now in the weekend.
The other thing we got to talk about is I think these guys are just out in their warm-up laps right now. But the other thing we have to talk about is at the end of that second race, the first one today, we had DJ Alessandrini beating Jeremy Swenson to the line and taking that 5th spot. Actually wasn't the case. Explain why.
Right. So we have what's called a transponder on the car that's mounted on the car, and when that transponder crosses the line, that's what triggers timing. On DJ's car, that was at the front on the front bumper of his car. On Jeremy's car, it was at the back. So with a little overlap, DJ's transponder crossed first, even though he was a little bit behind on track.
So they did reverse that officially, so all things are right again. And we are watching Smedegaard on his flyer and really aggressive using the curb at turn 1, way up on the curb there in the keyhole and looking for drive down the long. This is the only dyno run you really have here. And getting out of this and up next, it's going to be that section called Madness. And as I said, you've got to be on your game through there, up on the wheel, and not get behind because it's just going to cost you time. Let's see how he looks through here, Alex.
Yeah, looking good so far. The pressure's really on for them on this because they only get one shot at this, one opportunity. Any mistake is going to really ruin it for them, so they've got to perform to try and gain those positions, but also be a little bit safe and make sure that they don't lose any.
Good aggressive run through there. Maybe a little wide down at the bottom of 6, but not too bad. Now heading toward the big jump right here. Car just falls away. Nicely done there. Used up a good amount of that exit curve. Now the run through Thunder Valley and heading into that crucial carousel. And now it's time to drive the normal racing line, flow as much speed as you can. So he stays tight to the right there, floats out just a little bit to get the car rotated onto that apex curb, onto the hammer. Here we go. Let's see what kind of a time he puts up. This will be the reference point. Checker flag comes out, and Smedegaard flies through a 137.352. So that's the marker that everybody is going to be looking at here. And I'm really excited to see the next guy come out, Scott McGee here in his 93 Mazda RX-7. And Scott, this is his first race in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, and all he's done is put up 2 top 10 finishes on debut here. It's pretty impressive stuff. An 8th yesterday and a 9th this morning.
Yeah, really impressive for his first weekend here. I can't imagine what the nerves are like coming into your first wheel-to-wheel race and having to battle with all these very experienced competitors, but he's certainly been holding his own and putting up a good show for us.
This is some fierce stuff, too, this Touring Cup racing. Okay, here we go. There's that really, really wide arc. Now you turn it down to the apex and get the hammer down as he starts his flyer a little wide to the apex right there. Uses up all that exit curb as he is now on the clock. Watch him into turn 1. There's that blind approach because of that bridge.
Little bobble of the car there right at the apex it looked like, but he gathered it up and held it together.
Now, here's the run into that absolutely crucial keyhole once again. And you want to come in about mid-track. Nice approach right there. Leave it out just a little bit. Now start to feed it down to the apex. You want a late apex, it is what it's called, so then you can unwind the wheel and get to the throttle a little bit sooner and run everything you can down this long back straight. And you also, when you get to turn 4 on a flyer, a single car flyer, you're going to run way wide into 4 because you can make up a lot more ground carrying your speed right through here and take it all the way to driver's left. Beautiful line there. Because this next set of corners, a lot slower, you don't traverse as much ground at speed.
Yeah, and what you said is true. You might take a different line when you're just purely going for a lap time versus in a race, because that wide entry, while it may let you carry some more speed, leaves you a little bit vulnerable for somebody poking their nose in there and getting that position that you then have to leave them and getting past you.
You can see a little twitch right there between turn 8 and 9. I don't know that it was going to cost him too much. Now up through 11 and into that crucial carousel. And the line here now, he's going to keep it tucked a lot tighter in. He's going to diamond it a little bit here. All right, here he comes. The marker, a 137.352, as we said. Onto the front straight comes McGee. What does he put up for a time? A 139.173. So a little bit off, about 1.8 seconds off of Smedegaard. And he may have had that, as you said, a little bobble in 1, a little bobble in 8 and 9. Now, Ryan Upham is out, and you'll notice he's in a car that's a little bit different color. His team runs 2 cars here, Ryan's and Lewis Chatroop's, and they had a problem in both cars, and Ryan's a bit higher in the points, and so they cobbled together the 2 cars, and he's making this one right now, and he is now on the clock and starts his lap running the gray BMW instead of the red one he normally does. And this is an 04 M3. Love the sound of those straight 6s.
Yeah, so Ryan and the owner of this car each had individual problems with their cars, it sounded like, in the last race. So they've got together and kind of combined their parts and made one good car out of 2 bad cars. And Ryan's continuing the race here with that.
And you saw that really wide entry into the keyhole. That's what I would expect most people to do, as we said, to get that car rotated and be able to unwind the wheel, which allows you to get more aggressive onto the power and do it earlier. Now we'll watch him down this back straight and into and through turn 4. Nice and late on the brakes, but not scrubbing off too much speed. He gave up a little bit more on the exit there of 4 than I would have thought. But you can see him, bit of welly there, a little bit of a slide.
Yeah, and this is a new car for him. Obviously, it's not his normal car, so
Right.
He's obviously learning that chassis and that setup a little bit as he goes here. Little unfortunate this is his first try.
Yeah, you don't get any practice here before the shootout other than the race, and he was in a different car in the race, so he's just feeling his way around here. Here he comes now, up through turn 11. Another blind turn in as you climb. You don't really see the exit of the track. Oh.
It looks like he is caught
That's
the
unfortunate.
Mazda on his cool-down lap.
Yeah. Don't like to see that. Let's see what he does for a time. 139.1.
137.9.
Oh, excuse me. I looked at the wrong one. At 130. Yeah, that's not a bad lap at all in terms of time. And there were a couple of spots where he was just a little bit wide. I think he could have done even better. I think he'll be pleased with that, considering it was his first time out in that car.
Yeah, just 7/10 behind his first qualifying session that he ran. So he's probably going to be pretty happy with that.
Here comes Luke McGrew, who in the first 2 races of the weekend has moved up 3 spots in the points in his number 7 Mazda Miata. That's a 2007 entry.
And Luke, as we talked about previously about maybe making setup changes for the shootout, and we didn't maybe expect to see that, Luke actually did make some setup changes. So he has removed the front splitter on his car, removing some of that aero performance from it, and that's allowed him to reduce the weight of his car then. He could take another 80 pounds out of the car to try and improve his performance.
Oh, there you go. And he might miss the stick, but even the splitters create a little bit of drag, so he's probably playing that game too. Watch his line through 4, floats it all the way out. Beautiful run there for Luke. A couple of wins already this season. Started off really well, led the early part of the season in terms of the points, and is still right up in the mix.
Yeah, and he has that Duratec motor in this car, and he has gone through a bunch of them as he's lost those engines over the past couple of seasons with GRIDLIFE.
There he goes through the jump over at turn 9. Looks like he's got a pretty decent lap going here. In the race earlier this morning, he started up in the top 4, dropped back a few spots. I think it was Aaron Lechte just got around him and bottled him up a little bit. Let's see what he puts in. Final set of corners here through the carousel, through the flick, through turn number 13 here. What does he put up for a time? Where does he go? McGrew to the pole! A 136.155. That is a superb lap. 1.2 seconds quicker than Smedegaard.
Yeah, great lap from Luke there. He's got to be happy with that. It's a little bit slower than his initial qualifying time, but he made those setup changes, and the track just may be slower right now.
That could be. We've had a lot of activity out there in terms of time attack cars and a couple of cars that had some mechanical issues, so there could be some stuff down on the track. Here we go. DJ Alessandrini out of Cleveland, Ohio. He knows this place. Had the problem in the race yesterday, but rebounded after he had run a really quick lap before he got taken out yesterday. Started in 4th, finished in a fighting 6th. This is an opportunity for him. Boy, uses up every bit of road at the exit of 1.
Yeah, I think he scores high on your commitment meter on that one.
Yes, he does. When you see a little puff of dust come off from the back edge of the curb, you know you're right on the limit. But he tucked it in really early there into the keyhole, and that is an approach that some will use sometimes. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, if you don't have a ton of power in the car and you're not traction limited on the exit, it may make sense to shave distance through there rather than trying to maximize the exit. We'll see. It's all the compromise and balance for what you give up to what you can gain.
And sometimes, yeah, you shave distance and just roll speed if you don't have big horsepower, right?
Right, exactly.
Here he goes. Ooh, little lift up on the top, and I think that was more just to get the car, the little weight on the nose to get the car to turn better. Using up everything down at the bottom is 6, up over the first jump there at 7. And now into 8 and then 9. Here he goes through turn 9. There you get a little sense of how it drops. You could just see that right there. And now the blast through Thunder Valley.
Yeah, 9, for me, the most exciting part of this track. I love driving through there.
Yeah, it is something, isn't it? All right. He's got to beat a 1:36.1 by Luke McGrew.
And his earlier qualifying time was a 35.3, so we should see how generally we'll see qualifying time stack up here.
All right, here he comes. Does he do it? He does. A 1:35.784. First one into the 135s. You nailed it. He showed what he could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, here should be some fun. This is the man. And I got to give a shout out. Moorhead, Minnesota. I grew up 45 miles east of there and had a very, well, not very productive first year of college at Moorhead at Moorhead State University. So, but it's a place I'm familiar with. And this is Jeremy Swenson in the big 2001 thundering Chevy Corvette. And like you said, he really diamonded that turn 12 run. Here we go through turn 1. This is the time attack guy going after it.
Yeah, very clean through turn 1, as we'd expect from Jeremy, and a very, very good driver here. He has the street tires on, so he should, not be dealing with tire temperature issues or anything like that maybe some of the Hoosier powered guys are.
They switch on a little bit quicker, don't they? In terms
they
of
do, yeah. The Hoosiers
Yep.
can take, maybe a couple of laps to warm up and really come into their peak, whereas these street tires should be ready to go right from the start.
And this Corvette has just immense and consistent torque, which will really help as he gets down now into turn 4. Winningest driver on the season with 5 of them so far. Just nabs a little bit of the curb, a little bit of rotation there. I don't think that's going to hurt him too much. Feeding there is a nice little drift as well. He's just trying to get that back end around so we can get it pointed in the right direction. Nice, not beautiful through 6.
Yeah, he's really wheeling that car, really throwing it around, trying to get all of the time out of it for this qualifying session.
Here's that turn into the jump over at 9. Great line through there, and now feeding it through Thunder Valley. Just love the sound of that car. Up he comes, just a couple more corners. 135.784. See if he can jump to the top here. Through the last corner onto the front straight. There's the flag stand. And he does a 1:35.252 and goes to the top. Great lap by Swenson. Time attack, that's paying off.
Yep, and he's actually the first guy to beat his qualifying time that we can see just by almost half a tenth of a second from his initial qualifying time.
All right, here comes the other V8 in the field. This the V8 LS wedged into the front of a Scion FRS. This is Eric Jensen in the 184. It's a 2016 Scion FRS. And he's got a podium on the season and was really racy earlier today, fighting that car up into the 4th spot. So great opportunity for him to get a good starting position out of this now.
Yeah, he's been coming on strong all weekend. Qualified initially right around 11th with a 136. So hopefully looking to well, he has to improve on that. The worst he can do is 10th. Yeah, so he's improving his position with these with the shootout.
Well, and when you have a great race right before the shootout, that's going to give you the confidence. You know that, all right, the car's working. Let's see what can happen here. Watch him. You got a bunch of that curb, but it didn't seem to unsettle him too much. And the one thing to keep in mind in this shootout, any rewards weight you may have earned during the weekend, you can take it all off. So, the guys that finished up near the front aren't going to be carrying an extra 100 pounds or anything. They're going to be as close to the minimum as they can.
That's right. They're going to be in full qualifying trim, trying to set the absolute fastest time. Yeah, the rewards weight gets to come off.
Boy, did he used up every bit of curbing at the apex there, 9. That was really, really good. If it's paved, get onto it. And he used it to great effect here. Floating now up through 11. It's just so counterintuitive, isn't it, to hear that big V8 thunder out of that Scion. But he's giving it a good wheel here. Here he goes. Ooh, a little bit early on turn-in at 12, and that may have cost him just a bit. Where does he come through? In 4th.
Yeah, 4th with a 136.3, just 3 tenths off his previous time.
So a good run for him. Next out will be the point leader. Well, he was coming into the weekend. Check this out. He is now second by 1 point. And the top 3 in points came in here 9 points apart. The top 3 are now 7 points apart. So it's just mega competitive. This is the 2014 Porsche Cayman in the hands of Aaron Lechty, the number 190. 3 wins this year, finished second in the championship last year. He switched between this car and a Mazda as the season unfolds, and he likes running this car here, and this lap is about to start.
Yeah, in the last race, he got actually managed to help Eric Catil pass Tom O'Gorman for the lead, either through a little bit of a nudge or more likely just from that reverse draft and helping power Catil down the straight into turn 4.
An aero nudge.
Yes, an aero nudge.
All right, let's watch him up into the keyhole. Yep, that mid-track entry, floating it a little wide, then down and get on the power. And this is a heavier car. Woo, drops the lefts at the exit. This is a little heavier car, but it's got a little bit more motor, too, than others, and it gets down this straight in a hurry. It's very slippery, too.
Yeah, but using all the track at the exit of 2 there, kicking up some dust, he's really going for it.
All right, deep into 4.
Correcting the car on entry.
Yeah, that was
really wheeling that.
And out of 4, feeding throttle all the way up to the top at 5. So he's trying to get every ounce of speed out of it here. Beautiful line down through the bottom of 6. Up over that first little rise into 7. There's 8. Here's the jump at 9 and into Thunder Valley. A 1:35.2 provisional pole right now by Swenson by a half second over Alessandrini. Ooh, got that curb, loosened the car up, drops the rights off into the grass. That might be his lap.
Yeah, that's where we see some of that pressure of having to get it done in 1 lap and having to perform in 1 lap. Made just a tiny error there, getting that curb early, and it pushed him off track.
And he ends up in 6th at a 1:37.7. And you got to believe that that slide as he turned into 11 and then bouncing through the grass. That could have been a second, even 2, and that would have put him right into the 35. So that's got to hurt.
Definitely made a huge impact on his lap, no doubt.
Next up, the guy who's been second twice already this weekend, Tom O'Gorman, driving for ASM Motorsports in the number 94 Honda S2000. And he comes from Mason, Ohio. This is home track. He is fast around here.
Yep, I got to drive all the way from Wisconsin to mid-Ohio with Tom, and he was just bouncing the whole way. He was so excited to get here. So excited to bring the rest of us who've never been here to this track as well.
And look at how wide he ran, as you talked about, through turn 12. He posted a Get Around Mid-Ohio video on YouTube for everybody, giving away all his secrets, but that's the kind of guy he is. But he used that line in 12 to absolute perfection to get the launch here. Look at that. Every ounce of road on the exit, just flowing speed.
Yeah, you can tell he knows his way around this place in a number of different cars.
Up and into the keyhole. Again, mid-track. Patience. Now, go to the throttle. You don't want to get – because it falls away there, and if you go to throttle too early, you just push. So you've got to have something that drivers don't have a lot of, and that's patience.
Yes, that's right.
For that first little bit through that corner. Now it's the big run, and he has been just breathtaking to watch here through turn 4 and into the madness section of the track. Watch him here.
Oh, missed the apex there a little bit. Got a little bit of push mid-corner, it looked like.
Using the throttle to help steer the car. Watch him wrap that curb. His line through there is something. All right. Everybody, you do tend to run a little wide there through 8, because to turn a little tighter, you end at pinch speed. Ooh, drops his lefts at the exit of the jump. I don't know that he lifted, though.
Yeah, I don't think that will have cost him too much time. He was straight by the time he did that. I think he would have just stayed in it and carried it.
And here we go up and through that last corner. You can see the very different line. This is now the run and carry speed through it. He's got to beat a 35.2. Can he do it? He comes to the line. Where does O'Gorman go? Ooh, a 136.2. Only good for 4th.
Yeah, that's surprising. Maybe that where he dropped off the line did hurt him a little bit.
It did. And we just got an update, by the way. Ryan Upham, if you remember, he ran up on the back of, I think it was McGee. And so they have clarified they are going to give Upham a run once our last guy gets out, who now, by 1 point, is the point leader. He came in here third in the points in 2 races. Eric Coutil has jumped into the point lead, not by a lot, but a nice run. A 92 Honda Civic SI, and man, does he get that thing around this place fast.
Yes, yes he does. He was our fastest qualifier in traditional qualifying by just about 1/10 of a second. I'd expect him to be very, very fast in this lap as well.
Out of Columbus, Ohio, knows this track well, certainly has won both of the races from pole, as you said, already this weekend on a stellar run. It was his 4th win. Nice line through turn 1. See what his approach here up into the keyhole. Not a big horsepower car. He gives it maybe a car width. Not as much as some we've seen, but it gets on that curb a little bit more, and that's just trying to shorten the distance, isn't it?
Yep, that's exactly right. That car, he wants to shave the distance out of it. Another thing we saw there is he was coming into turn 2, and you saw this a couple of times during the race. Just saw a little flash of brake lights way before the braking zone. What he's trying to do there is make sure that those brake pads are pushed up against the brake rotors, and he knows that the pedal's going to be there when he goes to it.
Nice, nice. Just nicked that curb. Actually just helped him. Ooh, bit of rotation there, but he's done that all the time. That's just his line through there. Get that back to swing around.
Yeah, kept the line well. Still made the apex. I don't think that was a mistake, actually.
No, no. And, you know, with a front drive car, you sometimes set that rear end up, be a little loose just to help you get turned, because front drive cars tend to have a little inherent push, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So driving it absolutely beautifully here. A 135.252. Can he beat that? Beautiful line through 11.
And you can see the difference there between his line and Aaron Lichty's line was just a few inches different.
Yep.
But he got over the curb nicely, whereas Eric, it bounced him off.
It did. Here we go. Does he do it? No! Swenson hangs on by a 1/10 of a second. Coutil sits second at a 135.32. Swenson at a 135.25. About as close as it can be.
Yes, yes it is. And now we're going to see Upham here, who's going to get his consolation lap after he caught the Mazda on the slowdown lap. So he will get one chance to get it done here.
And this is a real benefit for him because now he knows he had no lap before just the warm-up lap. Now he's got one hard lap he was able to throw in. He already ran that line in 12 a bit differently.
Yep. Yeah, I think this could really help him now.
I would agree.
Now he hadn't seen this car at speed before his first lap. Now he's got at least one flying lap under his belt, so I think he'll be kind of thankful for his misfortune on catching that slow car.
Every once in a while, bad things happen, and it turns into a good opportunity. A 137.9 was the lap he turned previously, and see if he's going to be able to better that. Looked pretty darn good there through the keyhole.
Yeah, he's looking much more comfortable already.
Yes. Yeah. It'll really give us an idea here into the braking zone, turn in and exit a 4 now. If he's got himself a little bit of a handle on the car. Turning it in. A little wide of the apex there. Gave himself room on the exit. A little twitchy, though, way wide.
Yeah, maybe pushing just a little too hard in this car, trying to get it done on this lap.
Oh, big slide and saved it, but that'll be the lap.
Now this will be interesting. This lap will almost certainly be slower than the previous lap he set.
Absolutely.
And which one is going to count now for the result? Does he lose the previous lap?
Oh, he may have a problem.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got a tire that's he's leaking something. Something's leaking out of that car.
That's
it's fluid.
So he got maybe had fluid on his tire there as he came down. Yeah,
that looks like oil on the track
does.
there. So I wonder if if something's happened to that. Well, something's clearly happened to that car.
Right, and I mean he had a clutch problem in his car, a coolant issue in this car.
Yeah,
and they sort of cobbled them together here so he could have a car to go after it. And to have another mechanical problem crop up has got to be frustrating.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate way to end his qualifying session. But as we talked about bad things being fortunate, a lot better this happens on one-lap qualifying when you have the track to yourself rather than in the next race. If he hadn't got that extra lap, whatever has failed would have failed during the race and affected the other 39 cars that were out there.
So once again, something unfortunate happening that turned into possibly a bit of a blessing here.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. That is a real shame. And I would suspect, I mean, if they give you another lap, another lap, one would suspect at that point, folks, that they would delete that first lap because that, everybody else didn't get 2 opportunities. So that's what we would think, but we haven't had clarification on that yet, Alex.
That's what I would expect. My guess is that this was a situation that hadn't been foreseen, and they kind of had to call an audible on this. I don't know that for sure. That they may have this contingency in place. So yeah, I think we're going to find out here later what the outcome of this has been, but it may be all moot based on.
Buddy, it is time to go racing here once again in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, as race 3 on the weekend is out behind the pace car, and we are going to be going after it here in a big hurry. And you'll notice that beautiful purple Corvette of time attacker turned road racer Jeremy Swenson up in front. He used his time attack skills, Alex, to great effect in that top 10 shootout and got himself up front. If he can do it again here, use that power on that back straight, lead into 4, and throw down a couple of fast laps. When he started up front, that's been his MO all year. Build that margin because those tires are going to go off.
That's exactly right. Yeah, Jeremy really needs to start his race from the front, and that helps his strategy and helps fit with the way that car works. So look for him to build a pretty big gap in the first lap or 2 or more, and then watch the other guys on the race tires start to try and chase him down towards the end of the race.
And the guy that's going to be starting alongside him, Eric Coutil, who comes in here now, he's got 2 wins from 2 poles. He's moved into the point lead. How close is this championship? When we came in here, the top 3 were covered by 9 points. Right now, they're covered by 6. This is insane how interesting this championship is. And Coutil has been just stunningly quick. He's been able to he held off. He got through on O'Gorman in the first race. He got around him again in this morning's race. He has really got this track figured out. He's got that car dialed. Swenson's going to have his hands full, but this is going to be fun.
Yes, it is. And yeah, like you're saying, the championship is incredibly close, and that's the same as we've seen in every one of our sessions so far. There's not big margins here at both the micro level of an individual session and the macro level of the championship.
Yeah, this midsummer meet, 7th round of the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup Championship. 4 races per round, essentially. This is the 26th race on the season. Got to love those numbers, and we are ready to go. Swenson on the inside, Coutil on the outside. We're green. Oh, and a big move at the back. That might be that, I think that's that Scion with that V8. And man, did he get a launch down into turn 4. We've been talking about China Beach. Swenson leads in, and they float through that corner, and he has got serious company. But what a start by Jensen up into 3rd.
Yeah, we see Jensen there, followed by DJ Alessandrini, and I do not see Eric Coutil anywhere in that group.
Yeah, Alessandrini started technically in the 3rd spot. Somebody running wide there at the back. So this is a huge development for Coutil. As I said, undefeated from both poles so far. And Alessandrini, he is hungry. He had got taken out in that first race. Incidental, not intentional by any means, but still was taken out. But he loves this track. This is home for him, lives in Cleveland. And
yeah.
He's going to stick, and I would think hound Swenson as much as he can to try and run those tires off.
Right, and we saw in race 2 that DJ was really the car that chased Swenson down right at the end. And as we saw on timing, actually got ahead of him, although he didn't on track. It was just from a transponder issue.
But man, start of the weekend has got to be Jensen, who timed it beautifully, used all that torque of that V8 and that Scion FRS, and just leapt up from 6th into 3rd. Right there, that black car with the red highlights around the back of it, and I think right behind him is O'Gorman in the Honda S2000.
Yeah, and Jensen really took a page out of the Jeremy Swenson playbook when he at the start there and managed to jump a number of positions right at the start.
And I think Coutil is there, but he's back, and he's got serious pressure from McGrew right there, and that black number 7 all over the back. So I don't know whether maybe Coutil missed a gear, missed
Possibly.
a shift or something, but he's got work to do now. That was Smedegaard. Looks like he was trying to round him up there. The other car that's going to be a big story here, I think, is that silver BMW right at the top of your screen of Upham. Remember, they lost another radiator.
Yes, yeah, that's
Yes.
what I heard.
Yep.
The fix was a little bit of a temporary fix, and it didn't last. So now they've got the correct radiator in there and mounted all up properly, and should be no problem now for the race.
And Luke McGrew, right there in that black number 7, sits fourth in the points. It's a bit of a gap between third and fourth in the points, and you look at those numbers, and I'm wondering, did I just see O'Gorman? He did. He got around Jensen, so Tomo on the move. That was a beautiful outside move to get that done. Sweet pass by Tom O'Gorman. It happens quickly here. But we were talking, am I seeing a little smoke from the back of Coutil's car? Kind of buried in that
yeah,
cloud of
I think
dust.
it was, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think we're going to see a great battle here from Aaron Lichty in 5th down to Ryan Upham in 9th. Those 5 cars are going to be battling it out here all race, I think, as well as the battles that we've got at the front.
And it's still pretty good. Swenson obviously draws away on this long backstretch. Here comes, again, Jensen using that power. It's going to be a braking duel down into turn 4. O'Gorman's been pretty good on the brakes down here. You can see he got on him a lot later, floats it down, and then just drifts all the way to driver's left. That's not only the fast way around, it's a great defensive move to just make sure you got the inside line for that next corner.
That's right. Yeah, he drifted all the way, well, not all the way to the edge, left a lane at the side, which you have to do, and also matches the line, but was a great defense. And what I'm seeing is...
Ooh, and suddenly it just snapped away from Jensen, and around he went. I wonder if that was just a little bit too greedy on the throttle, or whether something let go in the back of that car, because that's not a spot you'd normally see a spin.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but hopefully he can get it back up and get it running to the end of the race here. And what we're not seeing is Jeremy really pull away and take a commanding lead in this race. He's just got a couple of car lengths on DJ.
There's a look at the gentleman who was point leader coming in, Aaron Lichty. See currently with that problem, and there's that smoke again from Coutil. It's definitely there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And Hondas sometimes do that, so it may be nothing, or it may be something for us to watch for the rest of the race.
Bit of a gap now. O'Gorman has been able to drive away after he got around Jensen, and then with that spin, everybody checked up a little bit behind Jensen, and that's given Gorman the ability to not worry about anybody in his mirrors now and just try and chase down Swenson and Alessandrini. What I was going to say about O'Gorman's line through there, sometimes the best defense is just a good offense. It's just drive faster, you know?
Yep. Yeah, if you can drive faster than the guy behind you, he can't pass you. But what we actually see is that these cars make speed differently, so you have to maximize your own car's strengths and try and take away the opposition's strengths.
Look at this battle here. It's Coutil and McGrew have been side by side from 4 all the way now to 7, and there's the car of Jensen. Everybody had to bail out of it there and slow down and not turn in. He's right where you turn in on the normal line. If he doesn't get moved, I don't see how we don't get a caution here. And Smedegaard has used the opportunity. He has closed up a bit as well.
Yeah, he was side by side with McGrew there for a moment, and I'm not sure if there must have been obviously a yellow flag for that stranded car, and it looked like Andy backed out of it just to make sure there wasn't a pass on the yellow.
Yeah, well, they were still going side by side coming up to it. He had that inside, and I think he said, yeah, I better back off here. And there's the 82 of Coutil again, and he just kept her pretty well taped down the way through there, and that's given him a big margin right now. Still not seeing any sign of a full course caution. There's certainly a yellow down leading into turn 9, probably at station 8. We'll have to see whether that 184 of Jensen was able to get moving, but here's that battle you were talking about. It's, what, 6 cars strong. They're not covered by much.
Right. Right, and we see all the way back now to Austin Hurtle in 11th, I think, that we're seeing that battle go on for, but this field is not stretching like I thought it would at the start of the race.
No, not at all. And now that Coutil is free of McGrew, we'll see whether he's going to be able to get after it a bit and come down. And another great run by Scott McGee. I think he was in his first shootout, and he didn't realize that you have to keep your pace up a little bit.
Yep.
And Upham caught him on his outlap. Looks like they got Jensen on the hook, flat towing him and pulling him off. That's an absolutely great job by the EV crew here because that was covered under a station yellow. We never went full course. We've kept this race going.
Yep, yeah, great to keep the race going and not ruin the session for both the drivers and all of the spectators that are watching.
Some good scrapping going on throughout the field here, a little bit farther back in the order.
It looks like Tom is joining that race for first now.
He has caught them, hasn't he?
DJ and Tom are both very experienced racing drivers, and they will not get into a fight amongst each other and then drop back from Swenson. They will almost work together to try and get right on Jeremy's bumper, which they have right there.
Wow, yeah, DJ was almost into Jeremy's bumper. That was really close, but he's got to get as close as he can because he knows he's going to lose a little bit of ground here. Now, if O'Gorman, if they can work together, keep DJ a little bit closer, we'll see if he's able to get close enough to out-deep him into 4. I don't think he's quite there.
No, not there yet.
And look, he's decided, well, I'm going to come and play too.
Yep, so what I think we're seeing is Jeremy's tires maybe going off a little bit now and slowing down. Those race tires are coming to life.
Last lap was a 36.8. His best lap was a 36 flat, so
yep, and
it's happening.
And it's one thing to catch him, though. It's entirely different to get by, but we're seeing more and more cars join the party at the front here.
Well, if he can keep you behind him in the twisty bits, it's going to be tough to pass him on the straights, that's for sure.
Right,
But
yeah.
the difficult thing is as those tires continue to go off, hanging on to that big, powerful Corvette, that's obviously running with a bit more weight, too. And look at O'Gorman, sensing opportunity, almost looked down to the inside. He is to the inside of DJ. Now it's going, DJ. That's what we were talking about. Swenson just didn't have the stick, Alex, and DJ got alongside him now, though.
Yep.
It's a drag race into 1. Who's going to make it work? DJ's got overlap. He's through. Swenson's going to have to cut back, and here comes O'Gorman down to the inside.
Yeah, great work there. That going side by side into turn 1, probably not the easiest move.
What a move by O'Gorman. Sorry if he can make it work here. See, he just cut back through to get down to the inside. And look who's joined this battle, or is about 5 car lengths away. Coutil is coming up as well.
Now DJ has a choice. Who does he defend from? Does he defend from Jeremy, or does he defend from Tom?
Or Lechty. Look at that.
Or Lechty.
And he's tucked in right behind, so the higher horsepower car is trying to team up and do something here. O'Gorman deep on the brakes, back into 3rd. And he's trying to get now to be able to ramp the outside. He might be able to do it here on Swenson. And with Swenson's car losing grip, you got to be careful with an outside move because he can just slip up into you too.
Yes, he could. Although I think these guys will probably trust each other well enough. But yeah, Tom's got through now, and I think you'll see these 2 cars pull away from Jeremy at this point.
Well, and he did it where he needed to early into the twisty bit, so now they can just use those light, nimble cars to good effect and build the gap to withstand Swenson's speed on the back straight.
As long as they don't interfere with each other too much.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys could get into a bit of a scrap, and that will always slow themselves down.
Oh, and look at Coutil now coming up on the outside of Lechty into the carousel. We floated a little bit wider than I think he wanted there. That's the thing. You can run an outside line, but if you get too far outside, you're in where the marbles and the hot dog wrappers and stuff sit. There's just not a lot of grip out there.
That's right.
Boy, that's a lot. I don't know. To me, that smoke's getting a little heavier, so that's got to be a concern. Lechty defending just a little bit. You get that one move. That's how we played it. And McGrew, boy, I'll tell you, he's had a couple of races where he's faded early and come charging back up. And this time, same story. Started 4th, has dropped back, and is now trying to fight his way back up into this. And he's down to the inside here. Boy, did he get a run on Coutil there. We've got 3.5 minutes left in this one. Call it, well, 3 laps, maybe. And 2 Ohio boys.
Yep.
Having at it right here. And then the man from Moorhead sitting in 3rd, Moorhead, Minnesota.
Yeah, it looks like Tom and DJ are really kind of checking out the front now, starting to build a gap, and we've got that 5-car party there behind them as Jeremy's fading and the kind of becoming the cork in the bottle for those guys.
And for Coutil, I'm sure he was, well, good, I can get a run on Lechty here, be able to do something, and then McGrew said, nah, I'm going to I'm going to play a little role here in your plans, my friend. And Smedegaard's coming to life now too, isn't he?
Yep, and he's joined the back of that pack.
White flag.
So final lap of the race here. We'll see how aggressive these guys want to be. But my guess is that we'll see probably 1 or 2 position changes here.
And there's Smedegaard right on the back of Coutil. A couple of nose feints going into the keyhole here. Gorman is really close on DJ. And again, impressive what Scott McGee is doing here in his first weekend of racing in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Let's see if O'Gorman can do anything now. He's been really good on the brakes down into 4. And Coutil now under attack from Smedegaard. That's for that 6th spot. O'Gorman not close enough to DJ to do anything here. Traffic they're coming up on. Oh, look at Smedegaard down to the inside of Coutil. But if Coutil can stay put, he's got the inside here into 6. But Smedegaard has just enough of a nose ahead. He's not going to give up easily. Still side by side. This is great racing, folks. This is what this series is all about. Respect, no contact. And drivers of this caliber just side by side by side through all these corners. And now Smedegaard just a little bit more grunt, able to ease in front of Coutil. Up into the last sequence of turns, into the carousel. O'Gorman, DJ, look at this here. Big move again. This is a flying. What a story by McGrew on Lichty. Side by side here at the line. It's Alessandrini gets it. What happens at the end here? Did McGrew get through? He did not. Wow.
And somewhere in that, Smedegaard dropped back a couple of positions then. We saw him get by Coutil, and now he dropped back 2 places.
I wonder if he just got into 11 a little too hot or something, because you're absolutely right. Because McGee got him right at the end and gets 7th. What a story for Scott McGee. Comes in here with 2 top 10s, a 10th and an 8th and a 10th. Now he betters that with a 7th. Smedegaard 8th, up him. And
it looks like Austin Hurtle is stopped there at the end of the front. And that's a shame, because he was running in 11th position for the whole race.
Yeah, he missed the first race with that gearbox issue.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as you said, came back up and has been showing that great speed. We have the yellow entry sitting there, too. So Alessandrini, O'Gorman, and Swenson complete the podium. And so we got some replays we want to show you here. And it was a good moment. There was the moment that the 184 of Jensen just got away from him, and with the way he was towed off, something broke. Because you normally don't see a car go around like that. And then this sequence of moves here as DJ Alessandrini gets through and got to the inside of Swenson, and that was able to eventually make that pass stick. So some absolutely incredible racing. And while we were racing, the random invert happened. And guess what, folks? For the next race,
yes, so for the final race, we invert a random number of the top finishers. The number that was chosen was 11th. So whoever finished in 11th position, which I believe was Rosenberg, will be in pole position for the 4th race.
And what a break for him. Remember, in that first race of the weekend, he pulled over very early and stopped. He's been able to get back and get after it here. So he will start on pole. Then it'll be Jake Price, then Upham, then Smedegaard, McGee, Coutil, McGrew, Lichty, Swenson, O'Gorman, and Alessandrini. You're going to flip it. Man, that is going to be absolutely insane, that 4th race at the end of the day today.
And how great for DJ. Race 1 was absolute heartbreak for him as he was involved in that incident that took him out of the race. And here he is back winning race 3.
Absolutely. And, of course, with Coutil, ends up finishing in the 6th spot, but actually maybe starting better than he would have had he been able to get to the front. So there's something to be said for that. And for O'Gorman, 3 consecutive second places. I'm sure he's getting tired of that. So, you know, he's going to be fighting angry and ready to go when that 4th race unfolds.
Yes, but he'll be happy he was second to DJ instead of Eric Coutil for the weekend's points.
That's a big story with Coutil finishing in the 6th spot. I said those top 3 come in to this race, covered by some 6 points. That's going to snug up even more.
Yes.
I think. So,
yes, it will.
This championship is, as they say, completely on the boil right now.
Yeah, wonderful. It's great to see it. It's great to watch us going into this really competitive championship.
It is indeed. Boy, I'll tell you, they just put on some fabulous races here. Glad you were able to join us for this one. The final race of the weekend, the 4th race of the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. We're getting underway. You can see the schedule here at 6 o'clock, so be with us about 5:45. We'll be coming on air and setting the stage for that one. But in between, we've got lots of stuff happening in terms of Time Attack. That'll be coming up, and that'll be coming your way in just about an hour's time, a little less than that. So a little bit of a break in our schedule on the stream right now, but we'll be back with you about 4:15 or thereabouts. Look forward to having you back with us, and then for that 4th and final race of the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup to wrap up the day's activity. I'm Greg Creamer once again with Alex Moss. Thank you so much for joining us here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the mid-summer sweep, I should say. I had a midlife crisis in the middle of saying that, obviously. Thanks, folks.